When it comes to telling us which products to buy and which to avoid, there's no source of information more trusted, more relied upon, than Consumer Reports magazine. Since 1936, it's been the buyer's Bible for millions of Americans who turn to it before purchasing toasters, cars, even condoms. And this past summer, it made news again when it blasted the 2001 Mitsubishi Montero Limited as being unsafe. When we first went behind the scenes at Consumer Reports, they were already facing 2 lawsuits from car companies. But that doesn't seem to bother the folks at Consumer Reports. They're used to controversy and used to making enemies as they go about the job of testing, informing, and protecting, all in the name of the American consumer. Take a walk through Consumer Reports headquarters in Yonkers, New York, and you'll feel like you're trapped in a mad scientist's laboratory.
Hi, sweetie pie. I'm Allie.
The clanging, the revving, the crashing. The sounds of lunacy. Or so it seems.
Dude, you're out.
Mad scientists? Or just plain mad?
Wiped out again.
400 people work day and night trying to figure out just what Americans need to know about the products they buy. Consumer Reports is more popular than Sports Illustrated, People, or Playboy, and more trusted than even the advice of a reliable friend.
We have it arranged with artificial feet.
Then again, how many of us have friends who would walk 10,000 miles to see just how much a treadmill can handle? Or create a torture chamber for luggage? Engineer Harv Abel is testing bicycle helmets.
All set? Well, here you can see there's some damage.
So how would you rate this helmet?
And the question is not really whether the helmet was damaged. The question is whether the head was damaged. The brain was not damaged. So this helmet did its job.
This is chili. The next one would be spaghetti. Next would be mashed potatoes.
Consumer Reports tests with a precision you may find laughable. So what do you call your job?
Dish dirtier, I guess.
Unless you work for a manufacturer, then you might not be laughing at all. Is this scientific?
I would say so, yeah.
This is science.
This is science. Actually, it's art. I would say it's art.
Caked on Cheese Whiz, peanut butter, jelly. Talk about giving dishwashers a run for their money. Thousands of dishes are dirtied, methodically, obsessively, artistically. They're washed with precisely the same amount of detergent in water exactly the same temperature. And then the judging begins. How do you rate that glass?
It's not bad, fairly good.
Give it a B? B minus?
C plus.
C plus.
Yeah, we're very tough.
Jack Toback has been testing dishwashers for more than 30 years.
It's really a horse race. And we all know when you go to the horse track, you see the horses trot out and they all look great, but they all don't win. And that's what we tell our readers, which ones are the winners and which ones are the trotters.
I mean, I have a PhD in electrical engineering. When I walk into the store to select a VCR, I wouldn't know how to decide which one is the best.
David Pittle heads up the testing division at Consumer Reports.
What size are these?
And with only 19 years on the job, is considered a newcomer here.
Washers, dryers, refrigerators, microwave ovens, dishwashers, air conditioners, televisions, VCRs, CD players, tape decks, receiver speakers. These are the core 30 or so what we call sweaty palm decisions that somebody has to make.
CU regularly tests new models of household.
They've been doing it since 1936, evaluating products and advocating product safety. Besides testing pens and pounding mattresses, they've been the country's leading crusader, fighting for everything from safer milk to seat belts and airbags in cars.
We don't take advertising, we don't take free samples, we accept no gifts or grants from any manufacturer, so we have no axe to grind. We are totally independent, and that's a very key point.
Independent and powerful. A good rating from the magazine means a company's sales can skyrocket. but a bad one can stop a product dead in its tracks.
It's interesting that a publication like that can make or break companies, can make or break a product, can make or break an individual. Whether it's chainsaws.
Robin Pendergrass represents Echo, a company that manufactures leaf blowers. Echo was proud of its quiet blowers and shocked when Consumer Reports called them not so quiet.
We took a position, and we have maintained that position, that they made a mistake. They had screwed up the test, period.
Echo says Consumer Reports was definitely dead wrong about their leaf blowers and that you won't admit it.
We are absolutely right about those leaf blowers. We performed that test in accordance with the standard industry test, and we found that those leaf blowers were louder than they claimed to be. I'm sorry that they're not convinced, but we believe we're right.
That kind of conviction is typical at Consumer Reports, where they'll even invite manufacturers in to examine their tests. It's an invitation few accept, and it just solidifies the magazine's almost unchallenged power. A bad rating from you, though, can absolutely kill a product. That is a lot of power.
And a good rating can make a product, and consumers benefit from knowing both. That's very important. We're not trying to make manufacturers or break manufacturers. We're trying to give consumers the information they need to make a good choice. And not all things are good choices. Some of them are products to avoid. I'm sorry, that's the way it is.
But such straight talk has landed Consumer Reports not one, but two of the biggest lawsuits in its 65-year history.
Consumer Reports is rating the 1995 and 1996 Isuzu Trooper not acceptable. A car that behaves like that should not be on the road.
In tests, Consumer Reports professional drivers found that two Isuzu models tipped up on two wheels. The magazine gave the 95 and 96 Troopers its worst rating and told consumers don't buy them. Sales dropped 43% after that report. A year later, Isuzu sued Consumer Reports' parent company, Consumers Union. And Isuzu isn't the only one complaining.
In June of 1988, the world turned around for Suzuki.
George Ball represents Suzuki in another lawsuit against Consumer Reports.
When Consumer Reports had a press conference and attacked viciously, savagely attacked the Suzuki Samurai, sales dropped precipitously.
How badly did sales drop?
Well, basically an 80% drop in the fall of 1988, and it never recovered.
Going, gone. That's how Consumer Reports described the 1988 Suzuki Samurai. George Ball says Consumer Reports test drivers came to the track with one mission: to tip the Samurai over.
I'll play for you the videotape, and I want you to pay some attention to the reaction that the Consumers Union testers have when it finally tips up.
Okay. What do you think that shows?
What that shows to me is they finally achieved their objective. They had gone into that testing hoping to find something that would point to a problem in the Suzuki Samurai. You're taking the vehicle and turning it about 180 degrees one way and then rapidly bringing it back. You are doing parking lot steering maneuvers at 40 miles per hour, and that is not normal, not expected, and that's rig testing.
And last summer, the Samurai and the Trooper got some company. Consumer Reports gave the 2001 Mitsubishi Montero Limited its worst rating, making it the third sport utility vehicle to be branded not acceptable. Mitsubishi, like the others, blames the test. Attorney Chris Spencer.
Steer wide, steer too fast, steer too late. You can spin it out, slide a vehicle out, you can tip a vehicle up. It's been done many times. It's the oldest trick in the book.
For a look at what's causing all the controversy, we went to the Consumer Reports test track in Connecticut. You ready?
Ready.
Okay. These are the tests that have been criticized by both automakers and the government for being unscientific and unlike anything a driver would find on a real highway. Mitsubishi says it had an outside independent group try this didn't tip up. How do you account for the difference?
Well, I can't really account for what they say they did. I know that we used 3 drivers testing 7 vehicles on the same day, the same track, the same test. The Mitsubishi Montero tipped up at least twice with each of the 3 drivers. None of the other vehicles tipped up at all.
But there haven't been any rollover incidents with the Montero. None.
The purpose of our tests is to evaluate a vehicle and tell the consumer how it's going to perform in the real world. Now, it may be that these kinds of situations are rare, but when they do occur, the consumer needs to be in a vehicle that is going to perform safely.
So far, Mitsubishi has not taken legal action. But the question is whether these challenges will tarnish the magazine's most valuable asset, its reputation.
We obsess over accuracy. We obsess over being fair and unbiased. And I think that's going to continue. These lawsuits won't make that any different. What these lawsuits have taught us is that right now, manufacturers with a lot of money can bring about an action to try to silence an honest critic.
Will that happen?
They will not silence Consumer Reports.
In the Isuzu trial, although Consumer Reports was found not guilty of libel, some of the statements they made about the trooper were found to be false. As for the Suzuki case, it was dismissed for lack of evidence. Suzuki is appealing.